Hey, this is Juliana Lowe saying hello to everyone and happy holidays and Merry Christmas. I created this little creature last night. I thought, what am I going to do? And I had a few minutes, well, about an hour to spare. And I thought, okay, well, I think I'm going to do something simple. So, kangaroo? No. Oh, I know. A deer. So I thought, okay, so what's happening? It was around midnight, and I figured that Rudolf, the red-nosed reindeer, is probably on his way to my place, as a matter of fact. And I figured he would probably be working on the GPS side of things while Santa is out there delivering presents. So here is my rendition of Rudolph. Really quick one. You can see that I'm actually playing in tiltbrush. I use tiltbrush a lot just for concept work and for ideas. It's a little bit like, well, it's my my idea of sketching, and I can do sketching first on a pad of paper, which that's where I always usually start with. But then, when I really need to get a good sense of what the creatures or the environment might look like in virtual reality, I actually go straight to either this, my tilt brush work palette, my open brush, or sometimes even my gravity sketch. But for the most part, I'm really just trying to find a way to determine how space is distributed. So I'm using a command in here, a feature that mirrors the left side to the right side. And when I do that, a lot of times I go in afterward and I flip the eyes, or I change them so that they don't look symmetrical. Because when you look at your own face, the left side does not look identical to the right side. So I seem to be getting the form all right, but I'm looking again at the proportions. I know that a deer's body looks kind of squarish, and they're quite slim when you actually look at them. I'm painting from memory. I'm not painting from any images or sources right now. Actually, I never have. I've never painted from sources at all, because I've actually been really testing myself to see what, or whether or not what I feel or what I think a visual representation might look like compares to the actual real object. And a lot of times I've been sort of close, you know. I know I've made mistakes with, especially with respect to legs and placement, but for the most part, I think what I've been doing seems to be kind of convincing. As long as my creatures don't look like gigantic dogs, I'm fine. I'm good with that. So as you can see, I've had to redo the eye a couple of times. I'm really just using this project as a way to find some time to just quieten down and to get some meditation and mindfulness in. So a lot of times I really do just jump into tilt brush simply to find a moment to connect with myself and with my thoughts, just using the repetition of the brushwork. I think this deer is almost done. I'm getting kind of finicky with it right now. I'm adding strokes and a wreath, little parts of little things that bring life to the image. And I know, because it's sort of realistic and cartoony at the same time, that the image doesn't really have to be entirely realistic. And in my work, I don't think a lot of people really seek out the high realism anyway. I mean, if I figure if I'm doing virtual reality, I might as well be doing something that's a little bit more compelling, a little bit more fun, and a little bit more interesting to look at, or else it's the same feeling as, back in the Renaissance period and then the post-Renaissance period, when folks would actually paint beautiful, realistic images of people before the camera was invented. And then of course when the camera was invented and everybody could take a realistic portrait of each other, then, that's when the art was able to explode, and the styles, they were adapted to that particular time in history, and they were able to sort of move from a realistic way of rendering to expressionism and impressionism, modernism, and all those isms that actually capture more of the nuance of the subject rather than the realistic version. So I'm adding little drops and little baubles to the antlers right now, and I've placed little dots, colorful dots around the actual reindeer just to give it some playful whimsy. I know that it's going pretty fast right now, but oof, I can even barely catch up as I'm watching this. And of course, when I'm writing Merry Christmas and Happy Festive Season, I'm always thinking about, did I spell this right? And whether or not what you can see is legible. Oh yeah, so I'm scribbling in trees right now. They don't have to be perfect, as I mentioned. And these Christmas trees, the pine trees, aren't perfect in real life anyway. But as long as I have captured the symmetry and the basic shape, I know that the brain actually looks at something and fills in all the rest of the details. I'm going to add a little bit of water and ice, some little red baubles and twinkly lights again. And then I think that my image will be done. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I hope the end of the year goes your way. Bye-bye.